The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today. How did you meet Jay Stone?
Just mutual friends, really. Like,
friend
of a friend. I believe. I mean, we know a lot of the same people from just being around. Like, he knows Jared Hart, who I've known.
I love Jared.
I have known Jared since we were like 14, 15, somewhere in that range. Like, my first band ever played with the Scandals. I always the story I always tell is, like, you know, whoever booked the show that us and the Scandals were on, they're coming from North Jersey, and our show was in Toms River, which is like south, maybe kind of central Jersey, depending who you ask. And they rolled deep. Like, packed a fucking van. I think Jared's dad drove them down. And they were some of the first kids that had mohawks that we ever saw.
Oh, yeah.
So we were just like, yo, these kids are fucking cool. They have mohawks. Holy shit, look at that. And, like, you know, denim jackets. And we all wore, like, I wore Dickies shorts and, you know, weird tie-dye t-shirts because I thought it was ironic. And then,
right.
You know, I had a fucking Jamaica shirt that said, like, Jamaica, Yaman, with a fucking big smiley face Rasta that Jared likes to remind me of that shirt frequently.
Yeah.
I would gift it to him if I could find it. But, yeah, those kids rolled down, like, super deep, and then we were like, yeah, let's keep hanging out and doing shows with all of their bands. So them and, I think the last person that, like, really put us in touch is homeboy from Safe Scene, New Jersey, which is like a harm reduction group in New Jersey that does all kinds of stuff. They bring various various forms of contraception, and they bring, like, fentanyl test strips and other just harm reduction things for people who are using or hopefully trying to get off of using. Provide you with means and ways of getting help if you want to get off of whatever you're on, and also keep you safe if you don't want to get off of whatever you're on, or if whatever you're on is not particularly a problem.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I only ask because, like, so I know Jay from, you know, living out here, and we run into each other at shows, and I've had him on the podcast. We've talked a few times, and, like, you're the first person who's ever been like, hey, would you he felt weird asking me. I'm like, I wish you would throw me more people.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm always looking to have people on. And like for him, from the way I saw it is if he, you know, if he brought you to me and was like, hey, you know, check, have you heard of this band? Have you? And I had heard of you guys before, and just the whole, like, you know, he was really like, the way he was talking, I was just like, yeah, if Jay Stone is recommending somebody to me, I'm gonna look into it. You know what I mean? So he's a really good guy. I really like the guy, and you know, I take his recommendations at high value. You know.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, Dying Scene, especially when I was younger, was always like a thing, just a thing. Like, holy shit! Oh man, Dying Scene put our record up. Like, you know, we feel like we've made it. You know,
that's awesome.
Like,
yeah.
Our Rolling Stone.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I think Dying Scene's probably my favorite of like the online stuff. I think to like find stuff. You know what I mean? To find news.
Yeah, I would agree.
Or yeah. It's definitely my favorite. So, but yeah. So I went and I had heard of you guys before. I think I had heard a couple songs before, but I really dove in after talking to him. And then when we talked and you had sent me the new record, I had a chance to check it out thoroughly. And yeah, man, I'm digging it. I noticed it's pretty cool. I like when I can go back to the beginning and I can kind of see how the evolution of a band works, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like from where you guys started, and like it was great stuff, but I feel like these last, you know, the last 4 EPs, maybe even into like when Modern Medicine came out, like you guys, I feel like you guys really found a groove and like a style of your own, you know, not a style of your own, but like a style that's like, it's unique. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope so. I think that's what anybody should be striving for. You know, even if you set out trying to sound like something else or being heavily influenced by something else, hopefully at some point you discover your own sound, your own thing. I still don't know what we sound like, because the curse of making any form of art, I think, is that you'll always be the last person to know what you sound like.
Yeah.
You know,
right on. Yeah.
Like somebody like my buddy Mike Hunchback that was in Nightbirds and the band Hunchback. Like, I've had conversations, like, he has one of the most distinct guitar tones and styles of playing of like anybody that I know. Joe Erg, who also plays in the Ergs and was also in Nightbirds, has a very similar thing, really the same thing. But for Mike, I was like talking to him one day, and I'm like, do you know what you sound like? And he's like giving me examples of things that, you know, he thinks he sounds like, or influences to him, and they don't particularly align with like the way that I'm hearing, which is of course subjective for anybody. You know, it's part of the thing of why you're going to be the last person to know, because you're so inundated with what your exact influences are and who you want to play like and who you admire, that you can't see past that, because you think like, oh, when I do this thing or when I play like this, I'm really just ripping off this person, or I'm, you know, influenced by this thing. But he seemingly didn't know that he had his own style and sound. And it kind of brought that idea in my head of like, wow, you're always going to be the last person that knows what it is that you and you alone sound like.
Right on. Yeah. So I'll tell you, like, when in Modern Medicine, I want to say that's where I first started hearing, like, you guys have almost this like speedy surfer like melodies in there that you added in, and then when you get into like the EPs that lead up to the LP, like you can definitely hear it there, but like some of that too has like almost like this like, I don't know, like doomy gothic thing to it too, because I think that's the vibe, the whole aesthetic of it, right? So
for sure.
Like, and I kind of want to talk to you about that. So the new record, Funeral Arrangements, like it's the last, what is it, the last 4 EPs and then a couple extra songs, right?
Yeah.
So like, did you have this in mind? Were you guys like, we're gonna release? Because I'm an old man, and like I am, of an age where like I love whole albums. I love like sitting down with the record and looking at the liner notes, or if it's a cassette with the J card, and I'm into that whole thing. And that's all an aesthetic that builds into it, right? So like when I'm looking at this and I see what you guys did, like you built this thing up to be this release, and I know that in today's world, like we're a instant gratification world. So splitting it up like you did, I think, is a good idea. As far as like marketing the band, getting it out there for streams, you know what I'm saying? Because like I know bands that like kind of were against that, and then when they started doing it, they're like, oh, this is how streaming works. Like you gotta get, because then once you do a release and there's like a couple songs, all of a sudden it's on playlists and other people are getting ears to it. You get what I'm saying?
I'd be lying if I said that was not factored in
part
there.
Of it. Yeah,
absolutely.
But at the same time, like you guys built like like I said, the aesthetic, like all the album covers. Who designed that? Was that you?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So you have a very distinct like what you're going for with each one of these albums. You know what I'm saying? And they all work together. I really enjoy that. Like, so was that was the plan from the get-go?
Oh yeah, yeah. The basic idea was that in end of 2019, into 2020, we had we had booked some tours to, support the Modern Medicine LP, and then things happened in 2020 that rendered that no longer viable. So we couldn't go on those tours because everybody had to stay home, and with good reason. And when it was coming around to like the end of 2020 into 2021, and I was like, I don't want to put out another fucking LP that I can't tour on. I really don't want to do that. It's a lot of fucking time and effort put into a thing that the hype cycle of is going to be completely gone by the time we can tour and do anything, And if we're going to speak frankly about these kind of things, like that's how it works these days. It's how it's always worked, because a band tours on a fucking record, That's not a new thing by any means. You either go to or don't go to the band that you really like's next tour because you're like, oh man, I love this record. They're going to play a lot of it. Man, I fucking hate that record. I'm not going to go. They're going to play a lot of it, You can sort of decide whether you want to do that or not. Oh man, this band's playing their fucking first record in full. I'm definitely going to go. But I was like, I really don't want to do that again. So started thinking about it, and I was like, oh, we can break this up. We can do this in a different way. We don't have to follow the regular format of like an LP. Here you go. And then, what do we do after that? Another fucking LP, a 7-inch, and also doing it in that way afforded us the ability to be able to take more time for every single song in the recording and the arranging and the overall production of the thing. And then we were also able to like take time to put a lot of cool bonus items in all the 7-inches. So like every single one of those 7-inches came with something extra besides the 7-inch. Right. And I was really trying to think of things that would be awesome to get with a record, and especially things that I've never seen packaged with a record. Because you've gotten a poster with a record, you've gotten an extra 7-inch with a record, you've gotten a sticker with a record, you've gotten postcards with a record, whatever. But I was like, I've never gotten a 45 adapter with a record, so let's make a 45 adapter to go with the first 7-inch. And then had to go out and try to figure out, how am I going to make these 45 adapters? Like what are the means of production for making something like that? What medium do I use? Am I making them out of wood? Am I making them out of metal? You know, wood for the little bit of like intricacies that I wanted in the design of it was like, okay, maybe that wouldn't work because the wood's not strong enough to withhold that. So okay, maybe that's out of the window. Okay, how about metal? And you go like, metal's too expensive to make, because these are also all items that I wanted to be free. I didn't want anybody to have to pay any extra.
Yeah.
And I also didn't want to have to like ask Indecision to put any money into that. Like all of that extra shit that came with all the records, we bought. We just bought and made and sent because we wanted that to be included with the records. So the first one was like 45 adapter. Then I figured out that you could do sheets of acrylic. And it's like, all right, great, I got this acrylic. Now what am I going to do with it? And then it's like, okay, you can get a laser cut. You know, the first instinct is like, okay, I'm going to sit there and cut it. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that 300 times. So we got to, we got to figure this out. What are we going to do? Okay, get it fucking laser cut, blah, 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 blah. Down the line, figure all that. And it's like, okay, so the next one comes with rosary beads in a little black envelope.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
That, and that had its own saga of like, okay, I'm going to cut off the crucifix and put like our logo and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, okay, it's too much. And we're getting away from what the thing actually is. Because if you don't have the crucifix, maybe somebody doesn't know that it is rosary beads. And then the idea is kind of lost and it's murky. Maybe I turn the crucifix upside down. I don't want to sit there and have to fucking cut the thing off and then glue it back on and blah, 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 and this and that. So we're just going to put the fucking rosary beads in the goddamn bag or the envelope and call it a day. And then the next one is arguably the coolest one, and that came with incense that were frankincense and myrrh scented, which is the same scent that you would smell in a Catholic church if you were going to like a funeral or something. And that idea started with me telling Dave that runs Indecision, like, all right, here's the idea for this 7-inch. I'm going to send you a bunch of frankincense and myrrh scented incense, and I want you to put all of the records in a box and then light the incense and then put the incense in the box so they all smell like the incense. Like scratch and sniff. And I think that idea was kind of like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, all right, okay, back to the drawing board. Let me get out the fucking red yarn and string and start putting shit together. So the incense comes with a little card that you can fold out into a little incense holder that holds the incense.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
And that was a thing that I just thought up and designed and sent off to get, make the little cards and then fold them up, put them in plastic bags with the fucking incense and then ship them off. And then the last 7-inch came with a black armband with the RX logo on it as a, like a mourning, like a funeral mourning armband kind of thing. And the idea for that was just directly stolen from the Death of Superman 75.
I was about to ask you.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I had one of those.
I have at least 8.
Yeah.
At least 8. Because everybody, when you buy a fucking collection from somebody, everybody bought at least 3 copies of that fucking comic. And it's cool. Yeah. It's such a cool fucking comic. I really like the Death of Superman storyline. I really like the, what is it, fucking 6 or 8 issues or whatever, and every issue had that many number of panels coordinating to how many issues were left to the actual Death of Superman issue, meaning, the issue before the Death of Superman had 2 panels per page, and then the issue before that, every page had 3 panels, and then the Death of Superman issue itself, that Superman 75 that came in the black plastic bag, every page was a splash page, so there's only 1 panel per page. Fucking really cool concept that I'm sure has been done before, but I'd never seen it. And then when all the 4 7-inches were out, we made 50 in a black plastic bag that had all of the stuff in it. and I
Wow.
made like a bleeding RX logo to mimic the bleeding Superman logo.
So you're a collector, right? Because
Oh yeah.
this is like a collector's dream right here. This is something I wish I knew about this stuff at the time, because I would have done that. I would have gotten every single one, and like, because like, if you can see behind me, I collect records. I collect records, and I don't just collect them. Like, I listen to them all, but like, I buy the variants to hang up on the walls in frames, like I do right behind me, and like
Sure.
above. I don't know if you can see it, but above them, I have test pressings that go around the room, and like, you know what I mean? Like I think I've always kind of been a I mean, I collected baseball cards and comics when I was a kid, and like I got into things like that. But like as an adult, like I didn't really have anything that I started listening to records, and I collected movies. That's what I did. I did all like if I was buying a movie, it had to be like a collector's edition kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I guess I've always been a collector, but like when I got into vinyl, I just wanted to listen to it. I missed hearing vinyl from when I was a kid. So like I bought, I'd go to yard sales and I'd buy all the records they had there for like $20 or whatever. And this stuff I never heard of, probably stuff I never even listened to after, even though I got it. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
But
That's
no, I think that's
about especially that's a cool thing about collecting records and going to like a flea market or a record store. Like the first thing you go to is the new arrivals, or at least the first thing I go to is new arrivals, just because if I go to the punk section, I have a good idea of what's going to be in the punk section. If I go to the rock section, I know what's going to be in the rock section. But if I go to the new arrivals, it's everything, and I can you can just come across a record that's like, this looks cool. What is this? And how much shit is out there that was originally on vinyl and never made it to streaming. Never made it to CD,
Right, yeah.
That you could probably find on YouTube or maybe streaming now, but how much stuff is just like, what is this? I've never seen this before.
Yeah. No, and there's a local, we have a local shop here. He's probably been there a little over a year now. Maybe a little bit longer. And I love going there. And yeah, the first thing I do is I go to cuz he'll have a lot of like local people will come through, and he's got like a consignment deal he does with them. So I'll go there first. I'll always go to what's that?
What's the local shop?
Oh, it's called Wicked Grooves. That's right, Wicked Grooves over here in Whitensville, Massachusetts. So,
Okay.
Yeah, and so like he'll have like a locals for like people from, because we're pretty close to Providence. We live in between Providence and Worcester, Mass. So
okay,
like he'll have people from Rhode Island, people from Massachusetts, some in Connecticut, because we're pretty close to a Connecticut border, and they'll so I'll always go there first, and then I'll go through like his punk section, and I'll find things that like he has no idea, he just got it in a collection. I'm like, dude, this is awesome, like this is a good record.
Yeah, dude, I had been looking for the one of the local stores that I go to in New Jersey is Low Fidelic Records in Belmar, and I had been looking for the Cathedral of Tears album since I'd found out that existed. And Cathedral of Tears is a band that Jack Grisham from TSOL did immediately after TSOL. So before Tender Fury and before Joy Killer, it was Cathedral of Tears, and they really only put out this one LP, and I've been looking for it forever, and it's not super expensive. It's a now that I have it, I can tell people that it's fantastic, so everybody should go hunt for it. Didn't want to tell anybody that it was good before that, because that would have made it more expensive. But
exactly.
Now that I have it,
I'm writing that down. I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's great. It sounds like where Beneath the Shadows, the last TSOL LP that he was on before he rejoined, it kind of sounds like the logical next step for that record. But yeah, my local store, I was in Boston, and I'm like sitting on a couch in the hotel that we were staying at, and the dude posted like this big industrial collection that he got that had like Nine Inch Nails and Skinny Puppy and whatever else, and then it was like Cathedral of Tears record. It immediately fucking called the shop and was like, dude, like please fucking hold that record for me. I probably wasn't that forward about it because I didn't want him to be like, no, this guy really wants the record, fucking $1,000.
Yeah, we're gonna up at $30.
Dude's super fucking honest and super fucking cool, and he wouldn't fuck me. He definitely wouldn't fuck anybody like that. He's a really fucking good, honest guy. But I called him up and I was like,
but when you're on a hunt for something like that, you gotta play the cards close to the chest.
and I had my price in mind. I was like, if it's more than X, fine. If it's anything below that, I'm getting it. Same dude also hooked me up with a copy of the UHF soundtrack that I'd been looking for forever, which is a little bit rare or harder to find. Not a super popular movie. And also came out in like 1988, 89, something like that. And as you know, it's harder and harder to find late 80s, early 90s pressings of records. But, yeah, fucking got that Cathedral of Tears records, and I was so fucking stoked. Anyway.
That's cool. I've been on a hunt, so I have, and this goes back with movies, too. I call it the scavenger hunt list. Like, it's stuff that I refuse to order. I want to find it in the wild. But there's a record that I have had on that list for years, and it's a soundtrack. It's a soundtrack to a Ridley Scott movie called Legend, and Tangerine Dream did the soundtrack or did the scoring for it. So this is the scoring record for that. And I saw it one time at a place, and I was like, and this was like early on too. I saw it and I was like, oh man. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to pay $27 for that for a used record. I'll think about it. And I left the store, went to another store, and then I went back. I'm like, I gotta get it. I went back to get it, and it was already gone.
Dude,
it's already gone.
Those moments of regret. I was in a record store in New Orleans, and on the floor they had. I had been looking for the Tron. Fuck, what is the fucking sequel called? Tron Legacy. I don't know what it's called. I've been looking for the Tron Legacy soundtrack that Daft Punk did the music for a while, and it was a thing where I kept seeing it, and it was like still sealed, and it had been so many fucking years since the movie came out that it was like still just the price of the new record at the time, so it was like $20 or $30, and I was like, every time I saw it, I'm like, fuck it, I'll get it another time, I'll get it when it's cheaper. And I was at a record store in New Orleans, and they had it on the floor, and it was $30, and I was like, I don't want to carry it around, I'll get it another time. And then the next time that I saw it in a record store, it went up to like $80. Yeah. And I was like, nah. Because then it was out of print and people had realized that it was good. And I was like, fuck it. And then I had to wait until it got fucking reissued, like years and years after that. And I had no fucking idea that it would be. And just sitting there on like Discogs or eBay, like hovering over the buy it now button, like, maybe I'm going to get it. No, I can't do it. Yeah. Luckily, that got repressed eventually.
There's stuff that I have like alerts for Discogs, right? That on my like want list or whatever, and sometimes I'll buy them and I forget to take it off of that. So I always get alerts. So I've got this Too Short record, and it's like $100 on Discogs. I bought it for $20. And it's like they did it was the second pressing of it ever, and then they haven't done it again. It's from like 1990 something. Like it's and like it's I can't believe the price of it. I'm like, I should have bought a few of these. Like you know what I mean? So I'm always like, hey, I'm gonna sell some records, and I don't. Like the guy at the local shop. So I gave him once my collection started getting out of hand, and for me to say that's a big thing. I decided like I got to go through, and all the stuff I don't listen to, I'm just going to throw it into a bin, and I'm going to bring it to the guy, and I'm just going to say, here. Like, and I did, and I gifted it to him, and he refused. He ended up giving me a couple bucks, but I was like, I don't want any money. But like, he's like, there's some good records in here. I'm like, I know, I just don't listen to them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I want someone to listen to. Like, I'm a person who will not throw away art. I will not throw away a book. I will not throw away record. I'll gift them to people. I'll give them to people. Like, but I can't justify throwing away. I have a kitchen table that's an old, huge. It's way. I live alone, and I got a fucking 6-person, like 6 chairs for it and everything. It's a huge dining room table. And one time when I was moving, I was like, I'm just going to throw this in the fire pit. And I turned it over, and I realized like someone handmade that for somebody's wedding. Yeah. And it has their engraving on it, and I'm like, I'm never getting rid of this. And I put it in storage. You know, and now I have it again. Thank God, because I didn't want to have to buy another table. So when I moved back to Massachusetts, I yanked that bitch out of storage. I'm like, here we go. You know,
it's funny. We have a similar table in our house that my partner's mom got from somebody when she was in like high school or something, and they made it for her as like a gift, and it's they handmade this fucking kitchen table, and it has like all this like fancy wood inlay of like varying shades and textures and stuff, and her parents didn't want it anymore, and we had the same thing. We were like, this table's like awesome, and somebody made this thing. We can't get rid of it. Like, I guess we'll just hold on to it. Like, I mean, right now it just has boxes and boxes of comic books sitting on it.
Yeah.
But hopefully someday it will have food sitting on it. I recently did the same thing though. I went through the whole fucking collection, and our guitarist Eric was down here for practice, and I'm like pulling stuff out and like checking with him, like, do I really need blank? Do I really need blank? And either talking me into or talking me out of getting rid of certain things. The majority of what I got rid of was like a lot of any greatest hits records. I'm like, I'm not usually listening to. I'm like, I had a bunch of Beach Boys greatest hits records and shit like that. But I'm like, if I'm listening to Beach Boys, I'm putting on a full LP. Right. So I got rid of that. And then same thing, stuff that I was just like, I'm never gonna listen to this, or I listened to it and I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Like, I sought out a copy of Joni Mitchell Blue, and it did nothing for me. It just did not. It just was not my thing. I'm glad it exists for people that are into that, and I had always heard that was like the record. That's like the thing. People are super into that record, so I was like, cool. Like, I'm gonna get this and listen to it in the format as it was originally issued, and it just didn't hit for me. And I'm like, cool, okay, I will give this to somebody else. So, you know.
Yeah.
I had a similar thing with Kate Bush. I found it wasn't Hounds of Love. It was one of the other Kate Bush records, and it was cheap. I bought it, and I was like, yeah, this is just not particularly for me. And then one of my friends came over that I know is super into Kate Bush, and I was like, do you have this record? And he's like, no. And I'm like, cool, now you do.
Yep.
Take it and get out of my house.
So with what you just said about like the Beach Boys, like the you know, like the best of greatest hits record or whatever, I have a question for you then. So you wrote all these EPs, like you wrote this as an LP, right? You wrote it as that and then split it up, or were you writing them as you were doing them?
Little column A, little column B. Some of it was like already together. Some of it wasn't. Some of it was like pieces that were not in context of everything else. So then putting it into context made you look at it again and go like, change like the beginning or the end of the song so that it better flowed into the next song.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So like that's the kind of stuff that wound up happening with it.
Yeah, because I mean, it definitely, if it works, the whole thing works. Like I listened to the EPs, and then you sent me the link for the record, and I was like, oh shit, like this works. Like it worked well, and I could tell you had this thing going on, right? And then like I listened to it as in its entirety, and I'm like, yes, this is where it's at, you know.
I very much wanted like an A side, B side thing to it. So like the A side is kind of front loaded more with like faster, earlier punk, hardcore sounding stuff, and then the B side is a little bit more experimental.
So like you got like the little interlude there, right?
That's
the song
the introduction, to the B side.
Yeah. So you have that, and that's when I started like I said, I started hearing like that little bit of like gothier kind of side to it, and but you still had that speed to it, and I was like, this is fucking cool. Like this is a unique sound, and I'm all for. My favorite song is "Haunted" on the record, by the way, and like it's the song right after that one, and they go so well together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's a good example of one where I think we changed it because it's like, oh my god, I'm dropping everything off of my shelf. Sorry about that.
That's all
right. That's a good example of a song that was affected by the, sequencing thing. So like, the end of that song has like, or whatever the fuck it is. And like that really high guitar part was played lower, but then it's like, oh yeah, but the next song starts with that fucking high guitar part. If we move that little guitar riff, up an octave, it kind of flows better into the next song.
Yeah.
Because it just, they kind of end and start in like the same voicing. So that's a good example of a part where we, move shit around to better flow the sequence.
Yeah. Now, when did you come up with like the theme for it, especially with like the aesthetic of like each album cover from the EP and then leading into the LP one?
I had the name Funeral Arrangements, I think, before anything else, because I thought it was clever, and with the sort of double entendre of funeral arrangements being arrangements that you make for a funeral, as well as like arrangements like musical arrangements.
Yeah.
Was kind of the idea. As I say it out loud, it's like, yeah, obviously, dude. I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes, sometimes people don't get the sort of joke here. And I mean, on a fucking downer note, the other thing is I had gone to a funeral for somebody that I went to high school with, and it like those things do, it really fucked me up. And I remember when I'd heard that person passed away, and how I felt and how sad I was, versus how I felt and how sad I was at the funeral and immediately after, and realized that, the casket closing, that whole process, like going to the wake, is like, that's the top. Like, you think when somebody's dead, that's as bad as it's going to be, and it's like, no, unfortunately, it's actually not. It's that can feel like the person just hasn't called you for a few days or a week. And if it's someone that you don't talk to all the time, you can kind of still pretend that you're just out of touch. But when you actually see the finality of it, of somebody there in front of you for the last time, is when it fucking hits home. And it's also the scariest part. The cemetery is not the scariest part. The church is the scariest part.
Yeah.
Bringing it down.
Yeah, I know. I remember being young, and the first time I had to do all that thing, and it was just like, it was it was weird. It was weird, and like I unfortunately, I've seen quite a bit of death over the years. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
at one point, like I almost like turned off everything, and I was just like, I'm just gonna like just be a fucking like emotionalist, like human being, because there's so much of it, right? And like,
Yeah.
but like that's no way to live, man. Like
No.
it's and it you regret things later on in life for living like that. You know what I'm saying? And I spent many years like that, and like I fucking like, yeah, like I turned away from people, and I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I totally get that. I totally
And if you
get
cancel
that.
out those unfortunate emotions, I think you also have to. You're also going to wind up inevitably canceling out anything good with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you need
We
dark.
were made to feel, man. We were made to feel.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, if you know, without that, like, when you turn that off, like, it's not nothing good comes from it.
Yeah,
You know what I
there's
mean?
there's no correct way to. I think that there's no correct way to grieve, man. It's whatever you need to do. I mean, I would not advocate for anybody doing anything that's self-destructive, but you know,
Yeah.
everybody is going to take it however they're going to take it, and generally, I think the only way that you do get through it is you just fucking grit your teeth and wait.
Yeah.
There's nothing, you know, and it never goes away. It just diminishes over time. You just think about it less, but
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
course,
no, you're right. Like it's weird, man. And the older I've gotten, like the more I think about like just like when I don't know, just like I don't want to die alone, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I think about this shit, and like
of course,
it's weird though, because like the older I've gotten, like the more I think about it, and I'm like, stop thinking like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, don't be so like don't turn it off again, but don't think about that. Like, you gotta.
well, it's a good way to
You
prevent
know?
yourself from being such a fucking asshole that you push everybody in your life away and do inevitably die alone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think that's kind of like, I feel like, even though I'm not like that anymore, but like I feel like that's what's going to happen because I did that, you know. But I don't think that's the case. And honestly, I'll tell you right now, like, so one of the cool. First off, I'm going to say where you sent me to listen to the full record.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably one of my favorite. I've never heard of this, like this place. What is it, Vidia or whatever? I've never heard of them, but I love all the stuff they put with the stuff. Like, I think it's better than SoundCloud. I think this is better than some of the ones I've seen with stuff. So like, you have like everything in here. You have everything from like the like who's on the song, who's doing, you know what I mean, to like the copyright and all that stuff. And you have the lyrics in there. And when I was going through the lyrics, what we're talking about right now, I kind of feel like fits with the lyrics of most of these songs, right?
Yeah, that's definitely, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, like, you know, like Work Forever. Like I knew, I was like, I need to read the lyrics to this right away, because like that's something, like I was just like, that's kind of how I hid from everybody. I just like fucking just kept working, and like, and then I was like, and then I'm reading it and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I've thought about that a bunch of times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that song specifically was when I was working. I was working as a electrician's assistant, and it was right after Hurricane Sandy, which devastated a lot of New Jersey. And I was, and when I started doing electrical work, everybody that I talked to was like, oh, electrical work is great. If you got to get into like one of those trades, like that's probably one of the lowest impact, you know, versus, you know, something being physically taxing on your body or gross, like plumbing can be sometimes. Or, you know, being a roofer is really fucking taxing on your body. Like, that's probably one of the trades that's a little bit less so than anything else. Not to say that it's not a difficult job, because it absolutely is. But, you know, oh yeah, you're gonna like go into a house after it's been they already have the drywall up. It's just going to be, or the studs are up and everything, and you're just going to, put cabling in, and you're going to be inside, kind of, at least in the shade, blah, 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 and whatever. That's not what we were doing. That's not the kind of work that I was getting. The kind of work that I was getting was demo work immediately after Hurricane Sandy, where, like, every house we would go in, the drywall would be, 3 or 4 feet up, however wide a piece of drywall is, just fucking ripped out of every house, and then doing like the duck walk in crawl spaces, ripping out fucking Romex and not putting anything new in, just like laying in snow and damp dirt on my back, trying to fucking nail little staples in, because you don't use that. You don't use like a staple gun. You got to fucking use the little staples that you got to fucking hammer in. And maybe they do have a fucking staple gun that does that for you and puts the staples in at an appropriate depth so as not to cut the wire off. Yeah, but my boss didn't have one of those.
Yeah.
So we had to fucking hammer and the staples in, and it sucked. It just fucking sucked.
When you have like maybe a foot to kind of like a foot of space around you to be able to do that too when you're in a car. Yeah, people don't realize.
And I fucking hated the guy that I was working with. It was just me and this other guy, and it was like as soon as the boss left for the day, it was like that guy looked at me like, "Oh, cool, you get like you're my bitch now."
Right.
So it was just like
that's how it was. The apprentice always got the shit.
And he was supposed to show me stuff. He was supposed to like teach me how to do stuff, and he didn't. He just didn't show me anything. So Bill can go fuck himself forever and for always. And eventually I got let go from that job, I think, because I caught him smoking weed in the van, and I don't care. I really don't. I'm gonna fucking narc on him? I didn't give a shit. I didn't care. I don't smoke weed. But, like, I got in the van in the morning, and I was like, it smells like weed in here. And it's more so to tell him, like, yo, dummy, you smell like weed. If the boss finds out, he's not going to be too fucking plussed about that. Right. And then later, he's like, I got to go to the van to get a screwdriver or whatever the fuck he's got to get. And then I ran out of electrical tape or whatever, so I went out to the van to go get it. And it was like a fucking movie. He, like, closed the door, and there he's standing like big fucking cloud of smoke comes out of his mouth, and he's like and I was like, just your jacket, right? That's what smells? Just your jacket? Yeah. And he was like and then the rest of the day he was real fucking weird, and then I never got called again for work. And I was like, that motherfucker, he definitely told the fucking boss that I was smoking weed, that
you were the one. Yeah.
Because then when I asked my boss again, like I ran into him somewhere, I was like, why'd you stop calling me? What was that about? And he was kind of like, with certain things, it just like, it wasn't working out. And I was just like, cool. I told him, I was like, you tell Bill Borowski that he can suck my fucking balls all day,
fuck you,
every
Bill.
day.
Yeah.
Fuck that dude.
You, Bill.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's what work forever is about.
Yeah.
Wanting to off yourself at your job.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wanted to blow your brains out because of your job. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So I mean, yeah. How did you when you came up with the ideas for all the album arts for all these do you draw and stuff like that? Do you do that too, or?
I would never insult people who are illustrators by saying that I am in any way, shape, or form an illustrator.
Okay.
I think I'm a decent graphic designer. I think I'm a decent graphic artist, and working in that profession, there's a lot of stuff that you can do that you don't necessarily have to be able to physically draw anything, as long as you have a sense for design, hopefully study design, and can work through the medium of Photoshop. So essentially everything that I do is photoshopped.
Yeah.
You know, never. There's no we don't fuck with the AI art. We don't do any of that.
Yeah.
For a multitude of reasons, with the first being ethical reasons, and then the other beyond that being like, it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. It
Yeah.
just doesn't, like, I know what I want and I know how to do it, so I'm not going to trust anyone or anything else to do that for me.
Yeah.
You know, like, I want
Yeah.
these covers to be this specific halftone look with a certain color scheme and a certain vibe, as it were, about it. And I want to base it off of what I have seen and what I know, not what a computer is going to reference for it. You know,
Yeah.
even if you fed that to it, it's not going to be the thing that I have in my head. It's never going to be. Someone else doing the art, it never would be. It's part of the reason that we don't go to other artists all too frequently, for no other reason than it's specifically something that I have in my head that I know how to make and I know I want out there. When I can't do that, I think that's when I would go to another artist, or when somebody has something that lends to what we're going for. Then it's like, of course, yeah. When you can't, find someone who can.
Yeah.
Like the only one of the few things that we've ever done is each of those 7 inches had it was a postcard sized insert, and they were modeled to look like a funeral card. That was the
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So the back of it had, every one of those 7 inches had one song on the A side and then 2 songs on the B side. I think there might have been one of them or 2 of them that it had it the opposite way for time wise, because like the song funeral arrangements is too long to fit with anything else on a side of a 7 inch. But asked my friend Ray if he could draw something for this, and because I had the concept, but I wasn't going to be able to make it through my own means and through my own limitations. I wasn't going to be able to get it across. And what I wanted was, I wanted 4 panels, like a comic book, of an angel statue deteriorating over time. So basically I put it to him like, here's the first 7 inch, the picture on the back of this prayer card is like this angel statue as it was just made. And then the next one is kind of like 20 years down the line, and the next one is 50 years down the line, and the last one is like 200 years down the line. And I want you to be able to put them side by side and see this deterioration. So I had him draw that up for me. Originally, I had wanted James Obar, who drew The Crow, to do the artwork, but I could never get in touch with him to get him to do it. And that was like I would have fucking paid damn near any amount of money to get that to happen. Like,
right.
Because the Crow comic book, not the movie. I'm not a big fan of the movie at all, frankly. The Crow comic is a big influence on this record as well.
Yeah.
With it being so much about, I mean, the book's about revenge, but it's also about just loss and
right.
grief.
Yes. Yeah. It's got all that. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to, so Visitation, was that the one that came with the 45?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going through these and I'm looking at the designs. Did Procession have the incense?
That's the one with the Thurible, I think that's what that fucking thing's called.
Yeah.
Has like the thing with the smoke on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep, that's that one. That came with the incense.
All right. Hold on. We got the other one here.
And as a shock to everyone, the one with the picture of the rosary beads.
Right.
That's the one with
Absolution.
the
Yeah.
rosary beads.
So what came with this disposition?
The armband.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Armband.
I forgot
I
about the
did.
armband. Yeah.
My mom used to be a florist, and I asked her like what the viability of getting like 300 lilies would be. And I was gonna like dry out 300 lilies and
Yeah.
put them in, and she was kind of like, that's not really like you could do it, but it's not really the kind of flower that you would necessarily do
Yeah.
that with. They're really
Yeah.
big, and they're gonna be really fucking expensive. So then I was like, okay. Can I get them like fake silk flowers? And she was like, yeah, you could, but it's good. Same thing. It's gonna be really fucking expensive. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right, fine.
So, do you when you like with the other albums? Do you always have like this idea like to do this other aspect of it or no? Because I mean, you put a lot of time and a lot of thought into all this, right? And like,
oh yeah,
and like, so like, is every record like? Do you think of like these things like? How do we make this something like you were saying like everyone gets stickers, everyone gets pins or whatever. So
Yeah.
we're gonna do something a little different. Like, do you do that with everything?
yeah, of course, because it's like it's the record doesn't start and stop at the music contained therein. You know, like part of the reason that I listen to records, the part of the reason that I listen to vinyl records specifically, is not the audio. Like the audio is the quality of the audio is arguably way fucking worse if you get like an older record that has pops and fucking cracks. Like nobody can
like
say
that.
that's how it was originally intended to be listened to. Nobody was fucking putting it down and going, dude, this is gonna sound great when it goes every 3 fucking seconds. Like, dude, this is gonna sound so much better when it's warmer, meaning distorted.
Yeah.
People thought about like the 4 corners of a record. You get 4 fucking chances to make an impact. You get on the A side what starts it, on the A side what ends it, and then on the B side what starts it, and on the B side what ends it. Like I said, it's the 4 corners approach to the record. And what songs went on what side, somebody had to fucking think about that. Some people don't give a shit. Some people, it's just whatever the record label wants to do because it's not of their concern. But for certain artists, you think about those kind of things and you go like, I wanted this record to start this way, I wanted it to end this way, or we wanted it to have a locked groove because we want it to end that way. Whatever. Like there's more thought to it. And if you're listening to a record as a piece of art, then I think that you need to take it as it was originally intended to be heard. That doesn't mean that you have to get a fucking $100 pressing of the record. In fact, you're probably fucking way better off getting a new 180 gram reissue of the goddamn
Remaster.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, but you're still going to get it in the way it was intended. It's part of the reason that I have a fucking issue with people putting new covers on older records. I'm kind of okay with it if you can still get it with the original packaging and the original art as it originally came out. Like then I'm okay with it. Or if there was a limitation of the time that the band could not produce what they wanted, then okay, I understand that. But just putting like a new fucking cover on something because you want to sell it to more people because they just don't have that cover, I feel not so happy about that. You know, there can be fantastic art. Like that's the problem with like those Mondo records that they put out, like or the movies that they put out. same kind of thing. It's like I have an issue with it not being as it was originally intended to be received.
Okay, yeah. I have an issue with me never being able to fucking get one. That's
Yeah.
They fucking sell out so fast. Like the Jaws ones, fucking every time.
Now, there's certainly cool things that people do with those that I appreciate. Like I'm sure you can go find a fucking copy of the Jaws soundtrack somewhere. You know, you could probably spend $40 and get an original copy of Jaws.
Oh yeah. I meant more of like their art, like the posters they do. Like
and that's not a diss or to say anything bad about the people who make that art. Cool art, innovative, looks great. It's more a problem that I have with like the artist themselves going like, yeah, let's do a completely different cover or something if the original is not available.
Right.
And if you're presenting it as a piece of art, if you're just presenting it as, like, if the band only cares about the music on the record and doesn't care about the packaging of it, do whatever the fuck you want. I have no issue with that. Put whatever cover you want, etc. Because then we're talking about a corporation, the record label, putting something together that's separated from the intentions of the artists themselves. It's also not to say that there aren't graphic designers and people with intention putting that together. But getting way off track now. Anyway, that just stop myself because that diatribe could go on for fucking days. Yes, I try to think about what is going into the packaging and the art of every record and why is it this, why is it that. Like, one of the things that
it's all part of the story. Like that's
absolutely
that's I'm a storyteller, so like I think one of the reasons why I love music so much is because of the story it tells, and like how like in depending on what you're listening to, like it can mean different things at different times, so like when I saw all this, like I could see there's a story here, right? And like I'm glad that that's like you put this much effort into that, because somebody like I totally appreciate that. Like
I appreciate that you appreciate that. Like, for example, okay, so like the cover art for Modern Medicine, I had the same approach to the color scheme and art on this LP as I did Modern Medicine. I think that my skills as a designer have gotten better since 2019 when that record came out. So like it's kind of like that with what I know now. There's things on Modern Medicine that I would do differently now had I known then what I know now about how to use Photoshop and why things look better in different configurations. But I knew enough at the time in 2019 to go, if you were familiar with School Drugs and I showed you the specific color green, the specific color red, the specific color gray, and I think white that are used on the cover of Modern Medicine, you would look at those four colors in like 4 bars and be able to go, oh, that's Modern Medicine. If I showed you the same 4 colors that are prescribed to funeral arrangements, both on the 7 inches and on the LP artwork, same thing. You'd be able to look at that and go,
away.
That's funeral.
Right away. Yeah.
I always really liked those like super minimalist things of like, the Simpsons Family, where somebody just puts like square blocks of color and you could like just look at that and know like which member of the Simpsons family it is, or which X-Man it is.
Right.
And I kind of took that idea and applied it to our artwork, to be able to say like, if you just see this color scheme, you know what this record is. And then another thing on Modern Medicine, the first pressing of that record, there's a green and red variant that was supposed to mimic like blood on Scrubs, but the first pressing of it is clear with a little bit of blood splatter. The second pressing is clear with more.
Yeah, I'm looking at that
splatter.
one right now. I'm looking. I have the picture of that up. It looks awesome.
And then every pressing is just going to be more blood. That's cool. The idea. I just want it to be like first pressing a little bit of blood, second pressing more blood, third pressing more blood, and then by the fourth pressing we're just doing red.
Oh yeah.
And
that's awesome, man. Yeah, no, I like it. And again, like it's something where as a collector, like I would I'm all for it. I'm all for the extra stuff. Like it's because again, like, and it's part of the story. It's not like you were just throwing random shit in a box, like, and it was well thought out. Even though it might be the second or third thing that you decided to put in there instead of the original thing, but like it was all well thought out, and I think that it just plays into as you guys as artists. You know what I mean? Like that's just I'm into that stuff. I think a lot of people appreciate that,
Yeah, I mean, it's the more that I think about it, the more I go like, oh yeah, no, there has always been a lot of intention, because the first record, or the first 7-inch, has all the pills on the front, and I intended for you to put the orange colored vinyl on top of it, and the label is modeled after a bottle of like a prescription bottle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, the label and everything on it. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Prescription bottle orange is what I asked for when we made it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's in like the cover. Like, hold on. So I'm looking at the cover. Is this another pressing of it? Did you do more than one? There's one that looks like it looks like a bunch of drugs. Like it's got the red and the white background, right?
That's the first dose.
That's okay. Yeah.
I like Suffering is the
cool.
first 7-inch, and it has like just a bunch of multicolored pills all over it.
Yep.
And same thing.
Right,
like I look back at that cover, and I'm like, there's so much that I would do differently now. I mean,
just like kind of like how I said, like I kind of hear the evolution of your music. Like it's the same thing. I wouldn't change it. It's like you said, like you're not going to go back and redo it now, right? That's what it was intended to be.
That might be a good example of like, if I was going to redo it, I would be redoing the cover art because I didn't possess the skill to meet my intentions.
Fair enough.
So like, I wouldn't. I'm gonna leave it how it is, and the third pressing of the record is another example of a time that we had somebody else do cover art, because one of my friends had asked me about doing something, and I was like just about to make this thing myself, and I was like, oh wait, here, you draw this, and it's the third pressing of Relative Suffering, and it was drawn by an artist named Mike Diana, who is a wildly interesting individual in and of itself. We're not going to get too far into it, but I'll tell everybody that he is the only artist to ever be convicted of obscenity in America.
Oh, wow.
Go read the Wikipedia page, watch YouTube. Yeah. It's a long fucking crazy, unbelievable story. But I asked him like if he wanted to just draw up these pills, and so he did that. And then the back of it, I did the design for, and I wanted it to look like pills dumping out of a bag that you would get from like a prescription, like a pharmacy.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at. Yeah. That's what I was saying. They're like in a bag, like almost like a, like a prescription bag, or like even like a when you're at the fair, the popcorn bag.
Yeah. That's cool too.
Yeah. It's the same. Actually, and now that I'm thinking about it, like they're the same bag. The pharmacy used.
And that record has like some cool little stuff about it. Like the all of the pills have like that UV spot coating, so they're they're shiny, whereas all the black on the cover is like matte finish.
Nice.
So they look like, you know, shiny, glossy pills.
So I don't know if you're doing anything special for the LP or not, but I don't want to reveal it if you are yet, unless you want to reveal it, because I think this might come out. People will probably still be able to pre-order the record when this comes out. So
yeah, we're not. There's no special stuff for the LP necessarily. There's
other than the 7 inches, people got to go grab the 7 inches that with this. You know what I mean? Like if you're a collector, you're gonna want all of this stuff. And like
this would be a fun thing for collectors, because the last 3 you can go get right now. You can go get those, and they come with all of the bonus shit that came with them. But the first one is sold out, so you got to go hunt for the first one. I've seen them on Discogs here and there, because I was like, when I was making up those baggies, I needed like a couple extra copies of the first one, and I was gonna just go buy fucking copies of my own record to have like an even number of bagged editions, you know? Like I had 49 bagged editions, and I'm like, I need to fucking go buy my own record.
I gotta go buy my own record
secondhand so that I can fucking make the number a nice round even number, like 50. That's another thing. There's only 50 of the special bagged editions. If you prove to me that you have all 4 of the 7 inches, I will send you one of the bags for free. I will send you a bag that you can put them all in. I will not send you the special different colored bonus items that came with the special bagged edition, the black bag edition. I will not send you the poster that came with the black bag edition. I will cut off the corners of the back of the bag so that it differentiates it from the ones that people received of the 50. But I will send you a bag, because I had to order like 200 of them. And I was looking at them on my floor one day, and I was like, I don't want those to be sitting there anymore.
Yeah.
Here you go.
That's cool, man. Cool.
And I will mail them worldwide. I will mail them anywhere in the world if you fucking send me a picture of all 4 of the 7 inches and just like post it on the fucking internet. I will send you one.
I'm gonna have to keep track of all this for the next thing you guys do, because I need this shit in my life. Like you know. So
yeah, and the next record after this one, I think is going to be something that you've never seen either. As far as like vinyl artwork integration is concerned, it is something that I have never seen somebody do. I think it is a fairly original idea, and I'm not going to tell you any more about it.
That's awesome. Cool. I want to ask you this thing before we wrap up here. At the end of the day, like, what are you like? What is the message you want to put out with this record? Like, what is the overarching message to everybody or whoever listens to it?
I think it's the same that it's been since the first 7 inch, which is just that you are not alone.
Yeah. Cool.
You know, I think we stated it pretty definitively and clearly on our first song on our first 7 inch, which is, the song is called Not Alone, and I would like people to know that they are not alone. Nobody is. Somebody out there cares for you. Somebody out there wants you to do well. Somebody out there wants you to exist. And you always have a right to exist, no matter who you are or what you believe in. Everybody has a right to, at the fucking very least, exist.
Right on. Where can people find you guys on social media? Where can they find your records to buy them? Where can they find you guys at a show?
We're going to be doing a record release show for Funeral Arrangements in November. That should get announced fairly soonish. By the time this is out, it'll probably be announced. Okay. That'll be the next time that we're playing is in November, at least local to our area. You can find us at School Drugs NJ on Instagram, and I still call it Twitter, but we don't really use it anyway. Same thing with Facebook. We don't really use that. We pretty much just use the Instagram. I think like most people, we just use the Instagram. And you can find all of our music wherever music is streamed, and you can buy records on our Bandcamp or at indecisionrecords.com. All
right. You guys coming? This is my own personal thing. Are you guys coming to New England anytime soon? Coming back to Boston or anything?
It's not close to you. We're playing in Kingston, New York on November 15th, which is not New England. I love New England. I love Boston. I really do. I would live there if it wasn't so fucking cold. Genuinely. And but it's cold in New Jersey. I'm like, yeah, it's a completely different fucking type of cold got up there. You know, but hopefully sometime in the near future, I would like to. Actually, no, not in the near future, because it's going to be cold. So maybe in the spring. So not in the near future. I don't want to see you in the near future, Boston and New England area. I'll come back when it's a little bit warmer. And we can go walk around the Christian Science.
We can go hit up some record shops.
We can go to what is that place called? That's over by O'Brien's. It's something.
I can't think of it.
There's a lot of great record stores in Boston.
Yeah.
And ones that have names. There's a lot of great record stores in Boston, and none of them are Newberry Comics.
Yeah.
Terrible record store. It's not even really a record store. It's kind of a pop culture ephemera store. It's like saying like Hot Topic
it's changed over the years. That's for sure. You know.
Yeah. If you want to pay $70 for another color record, then it's all go.
Yeah. Josh, man, this was awesome.
Thank you.
When it's time for another record, let's do this again.
I would love to.
Cool. And I'll make sure all the information for where the people can find the record, pre-order the record, is in the show notes. I thank you, and I hope to see you when it's warmer out.
Yeah, for sure.